Calm down, Rapture people.
Yeah.
Pump your brakes.
There's
Open
a
your minds.
rapture?
Well, I would say no, Ben, but that's my belief system.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it nice.
Let's see here.
And again, we like your idea of rapture way better than what we think is going to happen. So.
You know my stance on that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there is none. I'm
Well,
sorry.
first of all, there are actually, even within my own interpretation, because I'm now open to possible other interpretations. I've heard some other guys talk about that sounds kind of interesting to me. That's still a possibility, but the first way that I understand this is, first of all, the word angels. You have to understand the word angels is another bad translation word, because whenever we hear the word angels, what do we think? The winged white supernatural beings, right?
Human Pegasus.
And, right. And angels. But the word is messengers. And I think it should be translated as messengers, even throughout the whole Bible, because sometimes it is supernatural beings, but many times it's not. Sometimes the apostles are called angels, right? They're messengers of what? The gospel. So it will change the whole possible context. No, this is not a rapture, but it could be a spiritual thing that's happening in the heavens. That's another viewpoint. But I've always understood this as, first of all, it happens after the parousia, which is the coming on the cosmos. Oh, that was a whole other thing I didn't mention. The word coming, coming on the Son of Man, it's the word parousia. And again, that's a dangerous translation because it sounds like he's coming towards us type of thing. But actually, parousia means more the presence. So it's more like the sign of the presence of the Son of Man on the clouds. Again, we know what clouds mean, judgment, etc. Mm-hmm. So you can see how these concepts can be muddled by these English translations. Anyway, so angel sending out his messengers with a loud trumpet call. Trumpet calls are always symbolically used of call to war, call to worship, or the call to proclamation. You can look those up in the Old Testament, the call to proclamation. And it says they will gather his elect from the four winds. Four winds is, from all over the known. That would be an example where they're probably talking about from all the known world, right? What is this gathering elect? Is it a rapture or not? And I would say that the gathering is not a removal, but a unity in that parousia. The gathering occurs after the parousia. And so it's a spiritual gathering, not a literal one. And how I understand that passage to mean is this. What happens after the temple is destroyed and Jesus is vindicated as Messiah because he judged Israel and abolished the old covenant and replaced it completely fully with the new covenant? Oh, is that replacement theology? Well, whatever, call it what you want. But yeah, the new covenant does replace the old covenant. And if you don't believe that, then you don't believe the new covenant, do you? The gospel, the new covenant replaces the old covenant. Or rather, shall we say, I think I call it fulfillment theology. It's better to say that the new covenant fulfills the old covenant and the old covenant is done away with, as the book of Hebrews says. It fades and it's done away with because the new covenant was fading in and becoming the replacement or the fulfillment of it. But so what I think this is a description of what happens after the temple's destroyed. Jesus is vindicated as Messiah, and Christians are dispersed from there, right? Because it was all destroyed, and you had to, and the Christians were living in Jerusalem. But from that point on, Christianity started to spread amongst the earth, and so that is Christians who are God's messengers. We are his angels. We are proclaiming the gospel. The trumpet call is a symbolic reference to the gospel. And what does God do? He saves his elect. Those people who he has elected to get saved, he is drawing from the four corners of the earth. So we go out, we proclaim the gospel, and God draws. How does God draw people into his kingdom? By the proclamation of the gospel, right? And then those are the people who hear it and who believe, and they are his elect. Now, you can sit and we can have a debate about what does it mean to be elect, and all this kind of stuff. Okay, I think that's going down another side path, but it's still, the elect is a reference to those who are truly his people, right?